There are forces of good and forces of evil at work in the world today. What are these forces? Who is responsible for the good? And who is responsible for the evil? Richard Schaff talks about current events which are rarely discussed by the mainstream media, events that affect us all. This program seeks to identify, to inform, and to equip the believer for what's ahead. Welcome to What in the World is Going On?
This is What in the World is Going On. I'm your host, Richard Schaff. The program, sponsored by Lincoln Log Homes. We're pro-Christian, pro-American, pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, here only by the grace of God. I'm recording this on Saturday, August 10th, for the program first appearing on the radio on tomorrow, Sunday. And it just broke last night. Jeff Epstein, he apparently committed suicide. I'll tell you why I don't believe that. Was being held in the same jail in New York City that El Chapo was held in quite successfully. That's the Mexican drug lord that broke out of every good prison they've got in Mexico. We've now got him in a maximum security place in Colorado prison. Same jail was holding Jeff Epstein. And a week or so ago, Epstein was reportedly tried to strangle himself. He wanted to commit suicide by strangling himself. Now, I don't know about you and me, but I know about me. Try choking yourself to death, as in you want to take your own life. Didn't smell right to me, and this doesn't smell right either. He's been on a constant suicide watch in this prison. But you know, right now, I just found out today that Epstein's attorney he either has made contact with federal prosecutors or was trying to make federal contact. I wonder why. Could it have been to cut a deal? Just last night, a couple of people came out and were accused by one of the young girls that he supposedly had made a sex slave out of. And she said that she'd been forced to have sex with George Mitchell. Now, who is George Mitchell? He was the former senator from Maine that has the job currently held by Mitch McConnell. Pretty influential guy. Also with Governor Richardson from New Mexico, a Democrat. And she said she'd also been forced by Epstein to have sex with Dershowitz, the attorney. I'm asking you folks, if she was naming these, how many other people would he possibly have been able to name? A girl had announced that he was involved and had forced her to have sex with these three prominent people. Clinton flew on that plane a whole lot too, you know, on Jeff Epstein's plane. She also announced that she'd been forced to have sex with a member of the royal family out of Great Britain. And you think this guy committed suicide? Or they also said if it wasn't suicide a couple of weeks ago when he tried to strangle himself to death, that maybe an irate inmate had been involved and tried to strangle him. My thinking, folks, is that, you good listeners, that if it was an inmate that was trying to do it, it wasn't because he was so upset over this child molester being in the jail, but it was for financial remuneration from somebody. With the names that are going to come out in the future, there are a lot of people in there with a lot of money, a lot of contacts. And we've heard a lot of rumors over the years by some of these people, particularly over the Clinton family. Of course, the FBI is investigating this whole thing. Really? Our FBI, they're so honorable. You know, they'd never cover up a thing. No. Remember Comey? Well, there's some of his ilk still there. Oh, there are a lot of good people in the FBI. Some people there that have covered up in the past for the Clintons and that have gone after our president. This isn't small cake, folks. Don't be deceived. Don't believe what the mainstream media feeds you. I'll be doing constant updates on this as information comes out. It's going to come out. It's going to come out. But I'll make sure that you get whatever I find. But don't have any confidence that he tried to kill himself or that an irate inmate tried to kill him because he had a history of making sex slaves out of underage girls. It may have been an inmate, but that wouldn't have been the reason. I know most of my listeners, I know you well enough to know you're too intelligent to fall for it, but just wanted to let you know I'm here with you. We'll discover it together. Well, now to my regular program. Let's take a look at how the Democrat candidates have tripped over each other to declare who's going to be the best at destroying our economy and our country. When the candidates at the second round of the 2020 Democrat presidential debates weren't calling Trump a racist, they were railing about the supposed extreme dangers we face from man-made climate change. In fact, a search of the transcripts reveals that the subject, climate change, was mentioned more than 50 times during the two debates. All of the top-tier candidates have endorsed the Green New Deal, GND, and most of the 20-some others have as well. During the debates, we saw how many of these would-be commanders-in-chief have attempted to outdo each other with statements concerning the severity of the problem and their solutions to save Mother Earth. Nearly all support a complete transition from fossil fuels and an end to our, quote, carbon addiction, end quote, by 2050. Some even want it done sooner. In response to a question on climate change, our candidate for commander-in-chief, Andrew Yang, the Asian, he went so far as to tell the audience to forget about it, that we're 10 years too late, and we need to start moving the people to higher ground. Incidentally, this fruitcake is also the one that said if he was elected president, he would, by executive order, make it possible for every person to get a $1,000 a month subsidy at age 18, good for life, from our government. $12,000 a year for everybody over 18. I wonder if that was for illegals too. I didn't catch it. I'm sure if it wasn't already mentioned to be for illegals, we'd be facing that in a year or so after he were elected, if he were elected. Wow. Anyway, what exactly is this GND that the candidates are embracing, the Green New Deal? It's a transformational proposal that was rolled out in both the House and the Senate in early 19. Actions that would supposedly assist in curtailing man-made warming include a complete transformation to renewable energy for the power demand sector, upgrading every existing building in the United States, and expanding high-speed rail to a scale that would make air travel obsolete. No cars are going to be permitted either, under this. Well, elites, yeah. The proposal does not stop at targeting global warming, listeners. It includes far-ranging social programs that include guaranteed jobs for all, universal health care, guaranteed housing for all, and a food security plan for every American. I'm not just sure whatever that would be. With $1 trillion here and $1 trillion there, it soon adds up to a tremendous cost to the American citizens and businesses. The Competitive Enterprise Institute recently analyzed the cost of this program for just the energy portion of GND, revealing it could be economically crippling to the U.S. economy and to every household in America. According to their report, the CEI's report, it would cost a typical American household $70,000 the first year of its implementation and impose reoccurring yearly costs of more than $37,000 for each and every year thereafter. Not included in this estimation are the cost of the social items, and these would likely dwarf the cost of the energy program. A study earlier this year by the Energy Action Forum estimated that the cost of these energy-related items were only, and I put that in brackets, only $6 trillion to $8 trillion, and that over the initial 10 years of the program. We say only because the social welfare segment was projected to be between $66 trillion and $108 trillion, or $350,000 to $650,000 to the average family. This over the same 10-year period. The Green Deal, the Green New Deal, reads more like a socialistic manifesto than a serious effort to improve the environment. And it was confirmed just recently by the former chief of staff of no one other than Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's right. In a Washington Post interview, he admitted that the Green New Deal was created not to protect the environment, but to implement socialism. That's a shock, isn't it, to you folks? Never have guessed it. According to him, and I'm quoting, the interesting thing about the Green New Deal is it wasn't originally a climate bill at all. Nope. We really think of it as a how do you change the entire economic thing. A quote from the former chief of staff of Representative Cortez. Democrat candidates may favorably distinguish themselves with the far left by adopting socialistic ideas disguised as environmental policy, but they may just as well put them at loggerheads with the bulk of the American electorate for the 2020 election. Embracing the Green New Deal likely gives Donald Trump another point to use to beat him politically. And with what's on the table, folks, we sure better hope that he does. Senator Cotton recently rebuked the policies of the Dems. He said, or I asked, have they truly lost their mind? That's Tom Cotton, Republican of Arkansas. He's a great senator, a new one, you know. In an interview on the Cats Roundtable that was aired a week ago on Sunday, Cotton said the 2020 presidential vote is truly an election about whether America will be a socialist nation. A quote from Senator Tom Cotton. In the latest round of Democrat presidential primary debates, the White House contenders argued about progressive policies that included implementing health care systems that would eliminate private coverage, abolish the death penalty, and decriminalizing unauthorized border crossings. I don't think Americans want to be a socialist nation, Cotton said. The Hill reported, and I'm quoting, but it'll be incumbent upon all Americans to get out and make their voices heard in this election. A quote from Senator Tom Cotton. Other Republicans have jumped on the division within the Democrat Party candidates over policies. One, Senator John Kennedy, he's from Louisiana, rebuked the division was a case of, quote, progressive versus moderate, end quote. I would remind you that the lesser of two socialists is still a socialist, he said. He said that in an interview on Fox News. Even the less liberal candidates I heard talking were all in favor of a job-killing, soul-crushing, socialistic agenda. A quote from U.S. Senator John Kennedy, Republican of Louisiana.